news! Metacritics Top 10 Publishers of 2021. Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl Update. Elden Ring sales numbers. And we asked the question, is there a problem with the initiative? Extra, you know about it!
Hey guys, this is Extra, the weekly gaming news podcast that, despite being very platform agnostic, is actively being sabotaged by Microsoft. I'm, of course, Dean, and joining me is the viral TikTok sensation, Twitch.tv LMJ the Hitman, also known as Landen.
What's going on? Howdy.
Put the pressure on him there.
Yeah, I didn't expect any of that. No. Yep.
You put someone in their place, and
I don't know. I'm just a Sony fanboy. I was just speaking my mind. That's all.
And the other voice you hear is YouTube's own somber puppet, James.
Good evening, ladies and gents. Or morning, or afternoon. It's evening right now.
Evening for whatever it is for everyone else.
Yeah. So I, while getting everything set up, also started downloading Tunic. So I'll be playing that here soon.
Tunic?
Yeah, Tunic's finally out.
The game looks really good. It's on Xbox Game Pass. Is that what you're playing it on?
I'm playing it through PC, but yeah.
Yeah, that game looks good. It's like a Zelda.
It's a Zelda-like.
Oh.
It's getting really good reviews.
I have heard the bosses are very, very difficult, though. So for you Elden Ring fans, that might appeal to you.
If it's not agonizingly painful, then it's not worth the time. I may be a masochist. I've been told that I do not enjoy video games unless I am actively pounding my soft parts with a mallet.
Yeah. I understand that completely.
Try to think of a way to gracefully convey that.
On that note, this is Extra, your weekly gaming news podcast, covering the news leading up to Sunday, March 20th, 2022. And if you like, you can go to patreon.com/thebriefingroom. Let's get to some news. Which, by the way, in the doc, I did not change the date, so it definitely did not have that date, and that threw me off for a second. So first one is Metacritic released its top 10 publishers of 2021. Now, the games that each publisher released, the score total is calculated on a point system. So it's number of games released compared to the number receiving good scores and bad scores, rather than just straight up, what are the scores? Because, a publisher that's going to release, 20 games, they're going to have a few more that are bad than that are good. So they take that into consideration. And with that, Microsoft/Xbox was the highest one with an incredible 87.4 Metacritic for 2021. That is a crazy high number. Sony was second place with 81.3. Humble Games, not familiar with them. But they got 80.9. Activision Blizzard was 80.6. Now, the number 5, I will say, the deal did not go through until after they started calculating the points. So Bethesda comes in at 80.2 for number 5. Capcom at number 6 with an 80.6. Bandai Namco at number 7 with a 78.5. Sega at number 8 with a 77.6. EA at number 9 with a 78.3. And 505 Games is number 10 with 75.7. So, what do you guys think of those numbers?
I mean, Nintendo doesn't surprise me. The Bethesda one, what did you say? Was that 80.7, right? Is that what you said?
80.2 for Bethesda.
80.2? Yeah. What did they release?
I know for a fact they released Deathloop.
Oh, right.
I'm trying to think.
What were their scores then?
I'm trying to think of what other games they released, because I'm pretty sure Deathloop was more than 80.
There was that other Skyrim re-release that came out.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way 12 years later, I know I'm exaggerating, but it's still getting 10s, right? Like, can't possibly still be
it's
getting
because
10s.
it's a joke now. Because it's like, oh, no matter how many times it comes out, I've got to keep buying it. Oh, thumbs up, 10 out of 10.
Yeah, the one thing, I guess it's actually a good thing for Microsoft in this situation, that at number 6, they were, or at number 5, Bethesda was not connected to them, because that would have brought their numbers down. 87.4, though, that's incredible. You're talking Psychonauts 2.
Forza was huge.
Forza was huge.
They had a pretty good
Halo.
Flight Simulator got like a 10. Like Flight Simulator, there's no other game like it, and you can travel through the whole world with over like 300 different planes.
It still amazes me how well those games always do.
Yeah,
What, like the Forza games or the Flight Simulator?
Flight sim games.
I agree.
Forza,
There's Forza. I understand that there's like it's not really for me either, but I understand there's a fan
it's
base
got
for
its
the car.
fan base.
But the Flight Simulator ones, that's surprising that there's such a fan base for that.
Yeah, they always do like phenomenally whenever they come out. Like they've got such a huge following of people that take it really seriously.
Oh, look at the setups that are like their entire room.
The
Where it looks like a
aviation.
cockpit. Yeah.
my dad.
Yeah.
My dad doesn't have a dedicated room that looks like a cockpit, but he used to be a pilot and has not been able to fly for a very long time. And so, like, he does, like you say, the hardcore stuff where he actually, like, on paper, maps out his flight plan and then flies based on that. Like, it's crazy.
Wow, that's an old school.
Yeah.
I'm surprised Humble Games is that high, though.
Yeah,
I mean, I haven't heard much from them since, like, Wizard of Legends, which I absolutely love that game.
Didn't they just switch things up? They said instead of like Humble Games is about releasing like you pay a certain amount of money or whatever, and they give you like a load of games, right?
That's Humble Bundle.
Oh god damn! All right.
Yeah, that's a service. Humble Games is a studio.
I'm about to look them up because I am in the dark on this one.
Yeah, they released a Hat in Time.
Oh, I didn't know that was them. I know that game was really popular.
Again, Google's doing the same thing Landen just did with the Humble Bundle. That's
of Legend. I have heard of that. Okay, I have heard of that, but a lot of these games I've never. I guess they're releasing some pretty good indies.
Apparently, yeah. I haven't heard of any of the other ones.
I have heard of this one, Unpacking, where you just unpack a room.
That's the one that got them so high.
I would legit pay for that. I would legit pay for that game. I know it would probably be just like an afternoon kind of video game, but I would love to unpack like your college dorm room, your childhood bedroom. Yeah, that sounds fun.
Hey man, like Power Wash Simulator, the Gardening Sim, like those games are really popular.
Oh, I absolutely am planning on getting the Power Wash Simulator.
I have a buddy that power washes for a living, and I was going to gift him that game.
Oh, you piece of shit. You probably hate that. Like, I do this all the
He's
time.
like, you better fucking not. It's so tempting, though.
That's a good joke. That is a good
It's a
joke.
$20 gaff, but it'd be a good one.
Yeah, for that money, it's a great joke. 505 is also one I'm not super familiar with.
I can't think of any other stuff off the top of my head.
Okay, so I am on their official website this time instead of trusting Google. And it looks like they've published a few things that I recognize. I'm wondering if they're exclusively like a publisher, not really a developer. Because I'm seeing Control Ultimate Edition, Total Tank Simulator, Death Stranding.
Dude, Terraria.
Terraria was on there.
Oh, that's my jam.
Hellblade. So I think they're exclusively like a publisher, I would assume. Just, for
That
whatever.
May be the case. I
Dead
know,
by Daylight.
Yeah, and then they got Death Stranding. Terraria is...
So,
3-digit is the developer for that.
yeah.
So...
But yeah, so them being number 10 is, I guess, with that kind of catalog, isn't super surprising. And then Capcom, they had the Resident Evil game that definitely helped them reach that number 6.
I enjoyed that game.
I wonder how the VR port of Resident Evil 4 is doing.
Oh my god, I see every time I turn on my VR headset, I see it, and I got $30 of in-store credit, and it's a $40 game, like $10, and I got that game. I played that game. I'm sorry, it's a small rant. I played that game on PS2. I played that game on 360. I played that game on my PS4. And I know they're making a remake for the next-gen consoles. I know they're making a remake. But here I am, just like hovering over, like, do I play it in VR? Do I play it in VR?
I mean,
What
everything's
sucks-
really interactive and tailored for it. I've
Yeah.
got a buddy that's playing through for the first, like, he's never played through Resident Evil 4, and so
What a
the
way to
VR
start
is his
off.
first experience. And
Hell yeah.
If I got
Yeah.
it, it'd be my first experience with it, too. So
I heard it was
it'd be a
phenomenal
trip.
game. I heard it was a real phenomenal game, but like the cutscenes and stuff are like 2D. That's, other than that, it's like it's
bit
like
jarring.
one of the best ways to play the game.
What sucks is Landon convinced friend of the show, Cole, to get a headset. And that's how he got credit. And then a week later, they upped the credit to $60 instead of $30.
He sure did. He sure did.
literally less than 7 days later.
Hey, at least you got the credit for it. My buddy was on the fence
Yeah.
about getting it, and then it was like, hey, I bought the headset. I was like, oh, I should've looked into it. He's like, I could have given us gotten us both $30. He's like, well, why didn't you? I didn't know you were getting it.
Oh, man. You gotta love it.
That's the way the game works. You
So,
buy a game, it's free on Game
Yeah.
Pass the next week.
yeah. I definitely have had that happen before. So, second story. Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl gets an update, plus events. Now, I will say, towards the end of this, I'm going to go on a bit of a rant before handing it off to you guys. But let's get to the details first. Since release, the game had an NPC at the Global Wonder Station say, "I'm sorry, but the GWS isn't ready yet." This update opens the GWS and allows players to trade with strangers online. Previously, it had to be a system similar to dodo codes in Animal Crossing New Horizon, where you're like, all right, I want people to visit me. Here's a code. All right, people on the internet, here's a code. Here's what I'm willing to trade or whatever. Now they can just set what they're trading, what they want, and just, go from there.
Huh.
They also have an upcoming event that is running through April. But first, you need to have gotten the Hall of Fame, which is when you beat the Elite Four, gotten the National Dex, and completed the Cresselia event. And then that mystery gift, you can use that mystery gift item to obtain Darkrai. You can also now obtain Arceus, which also you can't do until you have the Hall of Fame and National Dex. But you have to have save data from Pokemon Legends Arceus. What the hell, Nintendo? First, I needed to buy these stupid games that I wasn't planning on buying just to get Darkrai for Pokemon Legends Arceus. But people that didn't want to buy Pokemon Legends Arceus now have to buy it to get Arceus in the game. Why are you making us pay $120 just to be able to complete your damn games?
It's scummy practice, but it's good marketing.
Yep.
$120 just to, like, because in
Just catch them all.
Legends Arceus, yeah, there's very few battles in Legend Arceus. The whole game is based around catching them all. And you can't get Arceus without Darkrai, because you have to have all the other Pokemon before Arceus appears in that game. And you can't get Darkrai without the save data. So literally, you can't beat the game without having save data from another game.
They have successfully, in an indirect manner, turned Pokemon into a play-to-win, or pay-to-win game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. At least with Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, it's not necessarily about catching it all. It's about beating the Elite Four and getting into the Hall of Fame or whatever. But still, like, that is insane to me. That two Pokemon cost $120, essentially.
That was like the one game that I was thinking of getting, because I never was. I liked watching the shows, but I didn't play the Pokemon games all too much, just because it didn't quite keep my attention span.
Yeah.
But I played through all the Diamond, so it's like, it'd be nice to go back through and revisit all that, because I even tried game striking Arceus into my DS card, because I thought that I could do it.
Well, I have the physical copy of Pokemon Legends Arceus. So if you want to get Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, I'll let you have the physical copy for a short time so you can get save data from that game. So then you can get Arceus without any trouble.
Game in the system. I like this.
Yeah. I bought it so you didn't have to. All right. You guys have anything to say about
Not about Pokemon. I know that I just read recently that Elden Ring had an update today, and they're adding more NPCs and quest lines.
They also apparently nerfed magic.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it, dude. It's so strong. It's so strong.
I'm not using much magic, and I haven't been really playing PvP much, so.
the story I saw while going through the what we were going to talk about, which we are about to talk about Elden Ring anyway. But there's apparently they have data mined the fact that there's underwear that has stats on it, and but it's not actually in the game. But because it has stats, at some point it was going to be in the game. And I guess it's Fia's underwear. I don't know that character, but
You telling me I can run around in my tidy whities and beat stuff with a stick?
You have to hack the game, but yes.
Yes.
Anyway, Elden Ring sales numbers. You ready for this? 12 copies in 17 or 12. I said 12 copies. 12 million copies in 17 days.
17 days, and they sold 12 copies. The whole world's talking about it, but they've only sold 12 copies.
Record new low numbers from Elden Ring.
Took Sekiro about 100 days to reach under 4 million copies sold. And the Dark Souls series, as a total, is at 27 million copies sold. So that means Elden Ring's already sold half of the entire Dark Souls series. To put that into perspective, if Elden Ring just matches that 27 million copies sold, that would put it in the top 30 game ever sold. A similar game, or a not similar game, but a game that sold similarly, Red Dead Redemption 2 sold 17 million copies in 2 weeks. So just ahead of Elden Ring, but not by much. And then in 3 years since its release, it has sold 43 million copies, which puts it at 10th best ever.
Ooh, mama.
So what do you think about some of those numbers, guys, being Elden Ring fans?
I think that's pretty dang impressive.
Yeah, it's pretty dang
But,
impressive.
I know that the Souls community has like its number of diehard fans and also its number of haters that just hate. Well, I don't like that word. People that just aren't at all fond of the style of game. But I wonder if just having I forget his name. The Game of Thrones dude.
George R.R. Martin.
George R.R. Martin. I was gonna say Gerald Tolkien. I was like, that is Lord of the Rings.
No cigar. Very similar, or very similar writers.
Yeah.
I've been talking a lot about it lately. I'm getting it mixed up, but I kind of wonder if maybe
That
the fact
helped.
that him having him on board helped draw in some people that might be curious about what he'd bring to the table.
I would say yes,
A little bit
but
wiser.
at the same time, I feel like they didn't really market George R.R. Martin that well. Like, they feel like they should have been putting his name everywhere.
I mean, there were a few popped up that was like he'd be working on the game alongside them.
From Game of Thrones brings you the Elden Ring.
Yep, that's about all we got.
So I wouldn't consider myself a From Software hater. I just am not a fan of the series, and I don't like some of the more toxic members of that community. That they definitely have turned me off too.
The Get Good crowd is a deplorable group of individuals.
It's like that
That's
crowd.
why I called them out.
That crowd, I'm fine with calling them out too. That crowd, the way they talk, it's almost like people with weather. Like if you were to say, "Oh, it's cold here," people will come in droves and be like, "Well, you should go to Antarctica." It's like, no shit, it's cold in Antarctica. I didn't say it wasn't. I'm just saying it's cold where I'm at.
This is my preference. It doesn't mean it has to be that way everywhere for every person. It's just this is what I like.
I think of it similarly, where it's I think it's similar with From Software, bros that are like Get Good, where it's basically just a dick measuring contest. Where look at the massive size of my penis. Look how big it is. I beat Souls games in my sleep.
Yeah, that is about right. I mean, I've gone I was trying to do a soul level 1 no death run in the first game, like completely naked, sprinting through the game with a club, and I got all the way up to Orange Smoke before I died. But it's like, It's like, yeah, I really did better than a lot of people that play the game, but I'm not gonna be going around just like, yeah, check this out.
Yeah. Again, and this is a hot button issue, but I do think From could benefit from adding accessibility options. Not necessarily an easy mode, just options. Like,
I think that goes for just about any game.
well, yeah, no, for sure. I mean, but
To apply it to just that one, though, is
yeah, there is a lot of games that at least try, and this game definitely has a lot more accessibility to it than a lot of other From games. But like, just because it is open world and you don't have to fight everyone, but it's just, I don't know.
I mean, you just mentioned Red Dead 2 recently, or just earlier, and that's one of the highest sold games, and the accessibility on that one is not so good.
No.
And that's one of the highest sold games. So if you can apply it to From Software's game, pretty much a small company, and you got a big company like the biggest company, Rockstar, who doesn't put any time into accessibility, I feel like you're putting the torch in the wrong light.
No, for sure. I think that every game should at least, from the bottom, from the very start, foundation of the game, should look at some form of accessibility. And again, there's so many different disabilities that you're not going to be able to help everyone. And we know that. It's just having a daughter that has some auditory and visual things that I need to think about with games that she plays. I just know that having options is better, and every game should look at it fundamentally. The reason I'm specifically calling From out is because of those get good bros that we were referring to, is that they are actively like, it ruins the artistic integrity of the game. It's like,
yeah, and
fuck you.
I've been a fan of it since the first game. I love the style, the gameplay, the difficulty, like adds something that a lot of games don't bother touching because they're afraid of scaring people off. But at the same time, it's like, it does alienate a lot of people and makes it not as enjoyable for a huge group of people that do love that world and everything that From's built.
Yeah, we're talking about their sales numbers. Think about what their sales numbers could be. If, there's plenty of people that review games based exclusively on accessibility. You have Steven Spawn, you have Steve the Blind Gamer, you have a multitude of people that review games based on accessibility for people that do have, disabilities. And it's like, imagine what their sales numbers could look like with just a little bit of looking internally at, okay, what can we do? What options can we do?
I'm sure that every company thinks that for the most part. I'm sure some companies put more time in or thought, I should say, into it than others. But this company, this is their first really big game. Like Dark Souls 3 took 4 years to get to what this game just sold in 2 weeks. So this studio has always sacrificed, money for quality in their game. Like they try their hardest to put their money where their mouth is when it comes to talking about their game. And I feel like, with now that they have this game that's selling just shitloads of copies, when we look at their next game and their future game, then we should be like holding them more accountable for the accessibility options.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm by no means calling for like the people that are like, oh, it's too hard, you need to make the game easier. It's like, no, but really, like you said about the get good pros, and it's like this. Yeah, maybe you have an easier time with it because you played it a lot more, but like have a little perspective from where they're coming from instead of just being a prick right out the gate.
Yeah, there's better ways to talk to people about that. Like when someone comes out like, hey, that's just way too hard for me. Like there are other ways to approach those people than
the game's not for you. Move
get
on.
GUD. Yeah, get GUD. Yeah. If it's not too hard for you, then go find a different one. Like, no. Appeal to those people, help them out, send them a wiki, let them know. And then honestly, this one is
in the
like
right direction or something.
You know, you find something that's too hard, go the other direction. It's very much like Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild has a lot of hard stuff to it. Not extremely hard stuff to it, but it has some hard stuff to it. And if you find it too hard, go the other direction.
I have too short of an attention span for that game. I think I've said it before, but I got lost like an hour. Just like, oh, I got bombs. Cool. Ooh, I can blow these rocks up and get rupee. I can get gems. And then I just got lost in a quarry somewhere. I don't remember. I had a lot of shiny rocks by the time I got bored.
Those shiny rocks help you upgrade armor, so like you can.
Yeah. And then I had the stasis thing, and I figured out I could launch myself. So another 2 hours went into that.
Just learning what you can do in that game was like so much fun.
Yeah, I figured out how to break the camera a few different times. I was having a good time with it.
Speaking of stasis, I love the videos of people like they'll take the mine carts from like the lava area and they'll stack them up, and then they'll use stasis on the bottom one, hit it several times with a hammer, get on the top one, and then they can literally reach Ganon by launching themselves doing that. They like have figured out the right angle, and so they're like, all right, boom, 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 get on, straight to the final boss. Like,
yeah, and one of the first releases of the game, you could cut a tree down, then right whenever it's angled, falling over, stasis it, smack it a few times, and then just grab on, and you go off like a rocket on the tree. Once it starts moving quick enough, though, you can't hold on anymore, so you can't do that kind of stuff now.
Yeah. So, as I mentioned before, we've been very nice to all of the platforms, all right? We've been so good to you, Microsoft, and you just go and you ruin our Patreon content for an episode. You destroy my editing computer for a weekend, and then I haven't edited our previous podcast yet. I'm tired of it. Tired of your sabotage. So we're going to talk about a bad story about you, Microsoft. Yeah, that's right. See how you like it. The initiative turnover. So the initiative is it's a studio Microsoft started themselves, and the whole idea was like quadruple A games with, a small team, and the whole idea was release a bunch of with the smaller team, you'd be able to do more and like release games at a higher pace was the idea, because they would bring in support studios to support the small team. So the small team would come up with the base game, and then they would have a support studio come in and finish off the polish and everything. So 36 people have left in the last year. And that include, and right now they are working on Perfect Dark. Reboot or sequel or whatever it is. So the director for that game, the design director for that game, the lead level designer for that game, the principal world builder, 2 senior designers, 2 senior writers, technical director, art director, lead gameplay engineer, lead animator, and QA lead are some of the notable departures. But again, that does not equal 36, so there's still more people that have left. Those are just like the senior staff, essentially, that have left. Then there is now less than 50 people in the initiative as of recording this. So.
Take that, Microsoft.
Yeah, take that. There's been executive turnover a lot in games. It does not necessarily mean it's going to be a bad game that is the end result, but it's also not necessarily a good sign. So what do you guys think of this story?
I mean, this is a similar scenario to what was going on with Halo Infinite, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, their director and stuff had left.
Yeah, and they had people whose contracts were ending mid-development and getting switched out for new people that had no clue what they were getting brought into.
Yeah.
Like, it's, I mean, yeah, I guess for, like, really monetary reasons, they aren't keeping them on full-time. But I could see many ways in which it could cause the product to falter.
Oh yeah, I'm not really into that IP too much, but I know that a lot of people hold this one close to their heart, and if as long as they do it right, they just take their time, get somebody else in that position, more people in that position, and then if you have to restart, because picking up where a whole group of people left off is not good. I feel like that's what a lot of problems with Halo went through.
Stuff gets lost in transition. Like, some people get putting into positions misunderstanding where the direction was that was intended from the start, and it can lead to a lot of problems if it's not dealt with properly.
Yeah.
Which isn't to say that it necessarily was the case in some circumstances, but there are a lot of issues that Infinite did run into over the course of its development.
Mm-hmm. I am not the biggest fan of the IP either. I didn't really get into shooters until, the GameCube, Xbox, PlayStation 2 era. So, I missed the original Perfect Dark entirely. And then when the 360 came out, I was interested at the announcement trailer for Perfect Dark Zero. I was like, oh, this looks really cool. And then I started seeing the reviews for Perfect Dark Zero, and I was like, I have better things to do.
I didn't really get into shooters until around that time. I was like, man, wait a minute. Like, that was right after I was born, those things were coming out.
Yeah.
That was my first thing. My first deal.
So I would be willing to get into the IP. It's just I missed the first one, and and Zero didn't do it for me. So like I said, this isn't a bad sign, but it's not a good sign either.
I mean, how far along were they really? They got announced maybe a year and a half ago?
I think it was last year they announced it.
But by the time you get the team together and they start rolling out ideas, who knows how far along they really are? And if they stated this game as a quadruple A game, so if that's true, this is a 5-year development game. So they probably weren't nearly that far along than what people want it to be. That game is a while away for sure.
Yeah. I'm definitely more interested in Playground Games, who does the Forza Horizon games. I'm more interested in their version of Fable than I am for Perfect Dark at the moment.
I'm hoping that game comes out okay.
For Fable?
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, Playground Games, the Forza Horizon games have been hitting, for a while.
Yeah.
So
I don't know how you can compare racing games to
that's where my worry is.
A British fantasy, open world RPG. And it has so much. The old games have so much character, and maybe I'll get hate for this. Fable 1's amazing. Fable 2's tolerable. Fable 3 is trash.
I think that's the general consensus.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that's. I'm pretty sure that's. Yeah.
And then the Connect one that no one knows about aside from me.
Fable. Let's see if I can get it. Fable Legends.
I think it was Legends. Yeah, you had the gauntlets, and it was raise your hand in the air, scream fireball.
The one good thing is with Peter Molyneux not being on the project, you won't have outlandish promises that the developers can't cash the check that his mouth is writing.
You know who he reminds me of? And this might go over a lot of people's heads, but there's a movie called Grandma's Boy where this guy in there, he was like this legendary game developer that everyone held to a high standard, and he was just this dweeb that just didn't have any friends. Nobody liked him, and he was just an evil person. That's what I think that guy is. Like, he saw himself as a legendary game developer, and he made all these crazy promises that never even came close to true.
You plant an acorn at the beginning of a game, it'll be a tree by the end of the game.
No. I'm glad that guy's not a part of it. Only better.
Actually, what's funny about his career, like, and he did some good things. I'm not gonna completely trash him, but what's funny about his career is lying is how he started his career in the gaming industry. So he actually had a data entry programming company where they programmed like Excel spreadsheet style programs, and someone had contacted him thinking he was a game studio, because there's a game studio with the same name, and they're like, all right, we need a game like this. And he, instead of saying, sorry, we don't do that, we do data entry, he's like, okay, got it. And he had everyone stop what they were doing with the data entry programming and started programming this game. That's how he got into the industry, because he totally lied.
I mean, it's a heck of a way to get started, though. This is not at all our field. But, you know what? We'll give the old college try. And apparently it worked.
It worked. It was like, what was it? There was Bullfrog, Lion's Head. He had a bunch of different people that were all killed by various companies like EA and Microsoft. So, all right. That is going to be the end of the show. If you liked, or even if you didn't like this podcast, be sure to do all of the things like hitting like, hitting subscribe, and hitting the bell on youtube.com/the XofPlays, or giving it a high rating on whatever podcast service you use so you can find like-minded people. I brought it up before, but on patreon.com/thebriefingroom, you can financially support the show and get cool rewards as well. That's all from us. Take care.
Hell yeah.